What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy in light, Luciferian Prince, coming at you. And it's this 13th of June, countdown to the birthday, you know what I'm saying? Birthday coming up. I'm telling you, I'm going in strong. I answered my emails all the way up to the 5th of June. And I checked my emails. I sent emails out. Listen, if you haven't responded, trust me, I'm not going to hunt you down. If you have responded and we proceeded forward from that point forward, great, fantastic. You know what I'm saying? That's great. Let's keep this thing moving. This is going to be my part 3 of the Metro 1313. And I want people to know also that, I enjoy what I do very much. I also like my content to be understood and interpreted by an intelligible audience, and much more less, I respect the subscription base and the people who basically persevere through the times that we face now. This is why I do what I do, because I know that at a time like now more than ever, people need to be aware of a lot more that's going on behind the scenes as opposed to what's being presented to them. This is why I do what I do. And agents, you know what it is. Know what I'm saying? Here we go. Let's look for the part I left off. I'm going to amplify my voice in this video because I know that the way I read and the way I speak are two different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and try to mix both of those together. Protocol number 17. The practice of advocacy produces men cold, cruel, persistent, unprincipled, who in all cases take up an impersonal, purely legal standpoint. They have the inveterate habit to refer everything to its value for the defense, not for the public welfare of its results. They do not decline to undertake any defense whatsoever. They strive for acquittal at all costs, caviling over every petty crux of jurisprudence and thereby demoralize justice. For this reason, we shall set up this profession in narrow frames, which will keep it inside this sphere of executive public service. Advocates, equally with judges, will be deprived of the right of communication with litigants. They will receive business only from the court and will study it off by notes, off reports and documents, defending their clients after they have been interrogated in court on facts that have appeared. Emphasis mine. I'd like to say that we're there is in America inasmuch as the legal system is concerned. The foregoing partial cities from the protocols are only the barest smidgen on the plan for global domination. This is the plan of the Khazarian Ashkenazi elite and their henchmen, the Khazarians who are only Jewish by conversion of faith some 1250 years ago, used the name of the Jews to hide their so-called nefarious evil deeds. Many prominent rabbis have denounced Zionism, once known as British Israel, as the political tool that it is. The Khazarian elite have co-opted most of all the governments of Europe and have taken over America through their agent provocateur and their bought or terrorized hordes in government. You will find certain names and families running all through this conspiracy toward world government. Rockefeller, Morgan, Vanderbilt, and many others, and many, many others. Most people are not aware of the fact that the name Rockefeller is the Americanization of the name Rogenfield, a direct Jewish lineage from Turkey, i.e. Khazarian. The Anti-Defamation League of Benign Brit is nothing but the protection of the British arm of Israel. The Jewish Defense League, whose base is at 1500 Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, is the terrorist enforcement arm of Zionism. The Anti-Defamation League has been caught spying on American citizens, but there has been no prosecution of the seditious act to date. The Anti-Defamation League hides behind its false Jewishness and declares anyone an anti-Semite who gets too close to the truth. The Anti-Defamation League is known by law enforcement agencies to have taken part in terrorist acts, such as bombings, which have resulted in death. This used to be called murder. Well, not today. It is the Anti-Defamation League that are the defined and definitive experts on domestic terrorists, otherwise known as the Americans who support their values and beliefs, and anyone who goes against their so-called status quo in papers and in magazines. It is the Khazarian Jews, Charles Schumer, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, Robert Rubin, Robert Reich, Alan Greenspan, and a multitude of others, who hold your government in their administrative terror. This shadow government, controlled through Metro, built on the designs of the protocols, is what rules your nation. America is ruled through terrorism, injustice, financial tyranny, and a control that leaves your Congress as nothing more than comic relief to be fed to you, the sheeple. The League of Women Voters of the arm of Metro, through the book Voters.com, it was revealed that the League of Women Voters was complicit in fraudulent manipulation of voter ballots. This falls right in with protocol number 9. President Clinton sits on the governor's conference, still to this very day. Through the control by the executive order, we have had all dictators, all sit under control of Metro 13 since the days of Roosevelt. The courts are executive tribunals run by administrative law. The Federal Administrative Procedures Act was passed in 1946. Really, to be honest with you, it legislatively, if you want to actually go back and forth, behind that, the concept was more than 1939, but public law became in 1946, those who've done their proper research. Every state has also passed some form of Administrative Procedures Act. The Khazarian Zionist agenda prides itself on their administrative brains, as denoted in Protocol 5. We now have virtually every department either governed by administrative agencies or under their indirect control. Power has been gathered into the hands of the new king, the President of the United States, who takes his marching orders from Metro 1313. Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, who sits with the Bilderberg Group. This is the Dutch power that granted the perpetual title to Manhattan Island and most of the land on the Hudson River to the patroons. The web of Khazarian elite and their royal allies reaches to the crown of England and ultimately into Metro. The world has been financially conquered in a war that was never declared, and few knew anything about this. There are those, I'm sure, that will call me, myself, especially on my video, anti-Semitic because I dare to tell you the truth, but I can't be an anti-Semite if I am from the Semitic people. I can't be anti-self. You know, those people are Caucasians. They're not Semites. That's a fact. This is not a Jewish plot that I'm conveying to you to take over the world. It's not. It's a Khazarian plot. Khazarians, by their own admission, are the sons of Gomer and Ashkenaz and not Abram. Abram or Abraham, whatever you chose to choose. You people better wake up to the reality of your dire circumstances, not the perceived illusion put forth by the Khazarian elite and their allies and their lackeys and their political whores. This is the truth. This is real. Are you strong enough to finally face up to how bad you have been lied to all of your life? This web of deceit and thievery has virtually destroyed this nation while we all slept, ate cheeseburgers, and watched titties. That was my input. The Metro was uncovered in the 1950s, and they scrambled like cockroaches from the light shed on them. It has been at least 32 years since that light has been turned on, and folks, I just flipped the switch again. Spread the truth. It's the only thing that the enemy cannot combat. That's a fact. Straight up. You know, sources. For people who want to know where the sources come from. The Records of America, Adams and Vaness, 1935, Documents of American History, 10th edition. Terrible 1313, Revisited, Joe Hindman. Protocols of Zion, translated by Marsden, but there are very many other translations. I have one that's actually in its version form that has been unadulterated through much years of research. Trust me, I know. I've looked through many manuscripts and seen many alterations. The 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler and the Contact newspaper. Yes, people, we are shedding light upon the lies and deceit that we've been facing today. What we're facing is a very serious circumstance. Well, whether people have prejudices or beliefs, whether people have their disregarded notions politically, irrespective of your concept of what you think life is about, let me tell you something, and let me tell you one thing and one thing alone. The reality that you think is real isn't. And the reality that you should be tapping into, you're not working on. And that's the reason why your problems will continually persist. Because you're not really focused on the goal. You're focused on slumber and sleep. And you're focused on the concept of a false flag ideology that these people are foisting upon you. And what they're doing is they're placing their concept of life into you. And you're going with it. So the reason why you face financial situations, or the reason why you face hardships, is because you have not elevated to the point of basically being an individual who's accountable for your own reality. See, on my channel, I don't want to keep people dependent upon me. You know, I really don't. I'm not one of those people who get off on that type of behavior. I'm not a psychopath. I'm not a sociopath. I'm not one of those people who actually want you to look at me as a demigod. I'm just the conveyor of the message. That's all. And since I convey a particular message indefinitely, then this is what I've been destined to do. This is what I've been called to do, because I've been led to this information based upon certain presidents of yesteryear, and also have faced the circumstances in order for me to apply the same knowledge in which I disseminate to the world. Yes. So that's a fact. And I say these things today because I know that there's a lot of people who are keyboard warriors. You know, we can always social media lies about changing the world's problems, but we never really face the world's problems from a correct standpoint. What we do is we buy into the social trends. And what we do is we condition ourselves to accept these things as the norm, when we have to understand that these things are manufactured. See, why they got you distracted with this whole George Floyd ideology, and why they got you distracted with this racial bias and prejudice? Remember, a land that murdered and slaughtered natives will never have respect for you if it's the same hand conducting the same activity. Let's be realistic, people. It's the same hand. It's been playing for ages. Just be glad that you can focus in on this significant truth and function as you should in your daily affairs. That's a fact. Be aware, you know, be aware, be sober, and be vigilant. Trust me, if you do that, you'll never fail. Because guess what you're doing? You're using your senses to be able to detect yourself and protect yourself against any significant threat to your well-being. So you don't have to worry about protection if indeed you protect yourself from inside, you know. But you have to protect yourself with a particular type of knowledge, and not a falsehood, not a fallacy, and damn sure not a conspiracy theory. Even in these videos previously, I showed you facts and statutes. This is not a conspiracy theory. See, that's a misnomer that was applied to the citizenry, so-called to speak, in 1967 by the Central Intelligence Agency, to basically say that anyone that gets close to the truth is a nut. Well, call me crazy as fuck. Because I'm not going to stop. As much as I can disseminate and spread this information to people in the public, I will do that straight. And I'm not going to allow nothing to divert me off that path. Nothing. This is what I will do. You know, this is what I will do. This is what I believe strongly in my being. I was able to convey a complexity and simplicity. There's not a lot of people who can do that. You know, you got people in churches, they want to argue about what scripture says what. We don't have time for that. That's a debate. And to be honest with you, religion is one of the most largest contributors of the downfall of people of Nubian complexion. Because it made you accept bullshit in this life, and then it made you believe in a promise that when you die, you'll get everything later. You can't guarantee that, and they can't guarantee that. Why you think they have everything now? If they really believe what they were telling you, the shoe would be on the other foot. But because they know that they can play on the manipulation of the consensus that's hiding behind the hand of religion, then that's why they lead you astray. You know? So let's clear the air, people. For anyone that wants to know, yes, my name is the Light Luciferian Prince, but I worship no deity. I walk in the light in me. I worship no deity, you know, straight up, none. Because if I was created in my creator's image, why do I need to pray to myself? I create, just like I'm doing this video. I'm creating and putting energy into the world. I am a creator. You know, I harness my destructive nature, but it's there, you know. And at the same token, that's the right that we all have as being on the same plane. You just need to understand the mechanisms of your enemy and stop being a fucking coward. And stop hiding behind political figures and people who you think gonna lead the front. You got to lead the front sometimes. You know? In the strongest sense of the word, I'm gonna be honest with you. Stop being a political bitch. Stop being afraid. Get that fear concept out of your fucking being. Remove that doubt, that negativity. Anyone who read the Luciferian Doctrine knows what I'm saying. You cannot move forward progressively if you always have doubt in yourself. Doubt comes from not knowing, and not knowing comes from ignorance, and that's the beginning of all knowledge. Stop being fearful. When you come into these processes, you better understand that on my channel, this is next level. This is not elementary shit. I don't have time to hold hands. This is for qualified, studied, and learned adults, not children, and not people who want to come to it for a materialistic gain. This is not about that. If you're about that, go somewhere else. This class is in session. Bitch. Stay tuned. Luciferian Doctrine Part 2.